Winter is coming.
Where are my dragons?
In the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die.
The things I do for love.
A Lannister always pays his debts.
Chaos is a ladder.
Hodor.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
We
We are the Rewatchers on the wall.
Hey, would you do me a favor and go over there and hold the door?
Okay.
Go hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the door. Hold the... Hold on! Hold on! Hold on! Hold on! Hold on!
I couldn't tell if I was supposed to.
I was looking right at you because you were gonna. You were supposed to go hold the freaking door.
I thought you were trying to get me to the Hodor's lines, and I was like, "Am I supposed to go here? Is this a cue?"
Yeah, that props to that guy for that. That was a great seizure. It's tough to watch.
Yeah.
Should we just go into that one?
Let's just start there, yeah.
So Bran is in a tree.
Stop me if you've heard this one before.
There's a
Bran gets really high in a tree with an old man.
Hijinks ensue.
Bran and Mira sitting in a tree, having visions and
Warging. Warging?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is warging a verb?
No, I think it is. I think it is warging.
He's warging.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think of.
So it starts with
the night he sees the White Walker guy, right?
He sees him become created. Yeah. So it turns out the men have been threatening the children of the forest, and so they create the White Walkers to help them fight against men.
Summary of these episodes.
Oh shit!
Probably. That would help us all,
let's
I
do
think.
that. Let's
Shit.
Yeah, let's get real general.
so
let's talk
exciting.
about everything that happened in these episodes, and then talk about the best parts. In
Do
these
it.
episodes 5 through 8 of season 6 of Game of Thrones, Sansa. Oh shit! Hold on, it's scrolling in a weird way.
Let's
Okay.
start.
Sansa meets Littlefinger in Moldtown, tells him that she doesn't trust him anymore. The Blackfish is at Riverrun. Arya gets a second chance, this time to kill an actress. Isn't their life hard enough already? Man, I could watch a show about actors in Westeros for like 16 seasons. She finds out how she can kill Lady Crane. Bran watches White Walkers be born. Oh, so they're kind of like xenomorphs. How? Yara makes her claim for the throne. Theon endorses Yara as Queen of the Iron Islands. Yara challenges their claim and has a plan to give Daenerys a bunch of ships and marry her. Yara and Theon leave and take a bunch of ships with them. Euron is king. Jorah tells Dany about his condition. She makes him promise to find a cure. Tyrion is now using the church to keep Meereen in line. This can't go wrong. Varys is skeptical, but the priestess knows a lot about his past. Bran gets marked by the Night King. Sansa questions Davos' worth and convinces them to try to get help from the Tullys. Sansa makes Jon a Stark jersey. The White Walkers find the Raven, and the children try to hold them off with hand grenades. Bran is still in a vision, even though Mira tries to wake him up. Then he wargs into Hodor, and they barely escape. Mira tells Hodor to hold the door. And he does. Bran is seeing visions of everything. Him and Mira are saved from the White Walkers by a mysterious stranger. Gilly and Sam arrive at Hornhill. They have an awkward family dinner, and Gilly stands up for Sam to his dad. They leave in the middle of the night, and they take the Valyrian sword with them. Arya watches these awesome plays and poisons the rum before talking to Lady Crane, then stops her from drinking at the last second. The waif is now allowed to hunt Arya. Jaime leads the Kingsguard against the Faith, but Tommen has already united the crown and the Faith. Awkward. Frey is mad that they lost Riverrun and sends Edmure to Riverrun as a bargaining chip. Jaime is being sent to take care of the Freys. Benjen is the mysterious stranger. He was saved by the children to help Bran, presumably. Dany is ready to conquer Westeros and gives a rousing speech on the back of a dragon. The Hound is alive, and now he's building a church. How fitting. Marjorie studies scriptures with the High Sparrow. Marjorie gives Olenna a secret message. The wildlings will fight the Boltons. Cersei tries to convince Olenna to stay and fight the Sparrows. Jaime asserts dominance at Riverrun. The Blackfish doesn't give a shit if Edmure is killed. Jon and Sansa get 62 men from the Child in charge of the Mormont family. Blackfish will not surrender to Jaime. Yara and Theon whore around, and they're going to try to get to Daenerys before Euron does. Brother Ray preaches, and some bandits come upon their camp. Arya gets stabbed a lot and then escapes, and then all of Brother Ray's people have been killed by the bandits, and the Hound totally wakes up into the Hound. Lady Crane is so awesome. Arya is hiding in her dressing room, and then Lady Crane patches her up and gives her drugs. The Hound kills some bandit dicks. Varys is going back to Westeros. The Sparrows have gone to fetch Cersei in the mountain, rips the Sparrow's head off, which is really cool. Brienne and Jaime catch up. Pod and Bronn catch up. Tommen announces Loras and Cersei's trial and forbids trial by combat. Tyrion gets Grey Worm and Missandei to drink, and they tell jokes. Man, this show is great. Jaime breaks Edmure. Edmure takes control of the castle and lets the Lannisters in. The Blackfish dies in combat, maybe. Meereen is under siege, and Dany is back. The Hound finds Beric and Thoros finally. Arya wakes up, and Jason Bourne's the waif, and now Arya is going home.
I'm going home.
Don't you dare.
That's like the soundtrack to my disappointment because it was in that Assassin's Creed 3 commercial.
That always makes me think of the
It's always a video game.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I actually know what commercial you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the only reason I know that song.
You
is
didn't
because
actually
of that
play
commercial.
Assassin's Creed 3?
No, I did, and it was terrible.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was supposed to be
So was Michael
good.
Fassbender in the Assassin's Creed movie. I didn't actually see it.
Yeah.
I just assume, and I'm right.
Yeah, you probably.
All right, so Bran is hanging out in the tree. He's sees the children of the forest have created the White Walkers, which, I mean, we're not attached to the children of the forest, but we think of them as good guys already, and that just kind of blows. Like, oh, this enemy seems to be unnecessarily made.
Honestly, too, the first thing I thought of when I saw that, I was like, Bran kind of feels like, to reference something else, Ender in Ender's Game. Like, that character, he kind of feels like a speaker for the dead, where he's like, he is gonna know everything and be this really weird god figure, possibly, that's like, well, we fucked up first. And they're like, but I don't know. It's a really weird, like, position that he's in, and, like, really interesting. But yeah, the White Walkers are just totally manufactured to kill humans. And they're really good at it. Like, they did a good job. They made good human killers.
I feel like Bran's storyline has the most parallels with science fiction.
Yeah.
That any Game of Thrones storyline has had so far. Like, as we discover later, there's like some time travel kind of element.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, because basically Bran like can exist out of time now. Because we mentioned this last episode. Like, Ned hears him when he's in that vision, and then also when he sees all the White Walkers, and the Night King grabs him and physically marks him. That's a big weird deal.
Scary moment, because he's just kind of he's just walking through these whites, and there's just this tension that builds, and then all of a sudden that happens. Oh,
yeah.
It's unsettling.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So.
The something to note is that when they do create the White Walkers, which feels very science fiction in itself, because it's kind of like the creation of artificial intelligence that then rebels against the creator type of thing. But no, it zooms out, and that symbol, the pattern of rocks spiral on the ground, is the same pattern the dead horses were in the end of season 2, season 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
At top of the fist of the first men, if they kill all the the white crows.
Yeah.
Wow, nice watch. Yeah, and no, it's a very short reveal, I feel like, but it's a big one.
It does. And now apparently that cave had some sort of protection on it that was hinged on this contact, and so now the bad things can come in, and it's a really good little nightmare sequence that we get in the middle of this cave. Just the whites just crawling literally through that tunnel just from all sides, and Mira's trying to fight. Mira does kill a White Walker, which is pretty dope. Yeah. She joins like Sam and John is the only ones to do that, and it is, man, it's just a really well done sequence. The children of the forest seem to sacrifice themselves. One literally like falls on it or ignites a grenade for it.
The hand grenade sacrifice
so
exists in Game of
Oh,
Thrones.
what a great way, to put like this trope into this world. It was so fun.
Yeah, that was cool. I was like, yeah, grenades, cool.
Yeah.
We
I
lose
like to
another
think of them as
direwolf.
Gungan energy balls. Okay.
They did. Yep, that's a good one. It was like a Dragon Ball, but explosive.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I mean the whole Hodor thing, which I totally already knew before we watched this.
Right.
Not the specifics, but I knew like the hold the door thing. I didn't know why or what that was.
So how much did you know? Did you know that he just dies holding the door? Or
No, I just knew that Hodor meant hold the door.
Oh, that's
Okay.
it.
And that it was revealed in some fantastic fashion. So that was all I knew. So this was like, it's cool, and it is totally science fiction-y. Like the events of the present have rippled through the past in a way that have affected all the time between. I don't know. It's weird and mind bending and awesome.
And chill. Like I remember it being pretty chilling, and me being very sad when Hodor died.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
I was not okay.
There's a
Did you see that coming?
I knew that he died.
Okay.
But I didn't know how. But I could kind of feel it coming. But yeah, I didn't know anything about like what his name meant or like that moment.
That's so cool to learn it that way. That was one of the few things I didn't have spoilers for me, and I'm so happy about it.
Yeah. No, there's that shot at the end. It's very effective how they do it. They keep cutting back and forth between where Bran. I guess we should mention that Bran is, when they learn that he's coming, the Raven's like, all right, well, we got to cram study for this final right now. Yeah. And he puts him in a vision. He's kind of locked in it. And so Mira's dragging him, Hodor's dragging him, and then
she wants him to warg Hodor, and he's like, I look at it as he's binging seasons like -50 through now. He's like getting the Chuck lowdown through the glasses.
Yeah, that's what it feels like when it all just flashes like that. It feels like Chuck.
I mean, did you go back and rewatch that? Did you want to look for Easter eggs in that quick flash vision?
I didn't. I don't think I'll go back. Maybe until I've seen everything else. Yeah. Because I kind of like, because I'm so I really don't know. I'm interested to know what importance watching his dad, like watching his dad train Benjen at that age, and then like they do meet Benjen, like Benjen is alive, like they do meet Benjen, so I'm sure there's stuff there, but I'm loving the lost feel of what that is. You know what I mean? Of like I really don't know, but I do think Hodor's death is really cool because it does really reinforce and nail home like Bran is incredibly important. It's not just like 2 or 3 people who think that. Like the entire like fabric of reality bent in a way to like point to that moment and like save Bran in a way. And so it's like it is one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, we're dealing again, another one of those moments where like, okay, yeah, no, this is not a mystery, this is a big deal, so it's cool to see that. I'm excited about it.
But that shot of the bird's eye view slowly coming in on Willis's face as the transition between Hold the Door into Hodor is, I mean, that whole sequence, I this is my 3rd time watching it, and just when those credits hit right after that, I'm just like, holy shit.
I'm like getting chills thinking about it.
It like makes me
very effective.
The first time I watched it, I was kind of an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
And funny story is, way after this, I think this next season was about, not this season, but the last season, 7, was about to start, and I was visiting my birth family in Chicago, and I just got randomly a call from Mark, who I don't get calls from very often, our friend Mark, and he's like, voice is kind of shaking a bit. He's like, I have been binging Game of Thrones to get ready for the last season, and Hodor just died, and I'm crying. He's like, I'm uncontrollably crying, and my wife is out of town, and I have no one to talk to. He's like, I just need to talk to someone.
Oh, and you were there for him.
So, yeah, I was emotional support for Hodor's death.
You held
for
his
someone.
emotional door.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
But no, there's probably 3 moments in this show that actually got me a little teary-eyed, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, that's really good.
Oh, it's beautiful. And they get away, which to me is a little surprising, just because I'm like, you'd think they would have surrounded the area or something, but they've got to get away.
It's kind of like a secret exit, I guess.
And they do get saved.
I think, too, I'll say, when you're just a superior fighting force, tactics and strategy kind of go out the window. Yeah. Who needs them? You're just going to walk in and
when you're getting attacked by 252 toddlers, you have no shot. They don't need tactics. They're just going to come get you.
They just be, and that's their tactic.
Easy peasy. And then they get rescued by Benjen, who, fun fact, in the books, he's riding a giant moose.
Oh,
that would have been so cool.
Another, like, I get it. You have a CGI budget. Wasted opportunity.
Yeah, that would have
been it's a pretty cool rescue.
So, something I was, like, wondering this time is Bran wakes up from his vision right before, and Mira's like, we're going to die. And he's just, like, really calm, which to me is like, did he see that Benjen was going to come?
I didn't even really think
and then she, like, hugs him, and he's just holding him, like, he's not going to tell her. He's going to get this action that he's been craving.
Oh boy!
Waits, doesn't. Yeah, but then Benjen shows up and cock blocks him. But no, Benjen's re-reveal into the story because he's been gone since like episode 3 of season 1.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's really cool, and like it's revealed that he was saved by the children.
That he had to be kind of turned into a half White Walker,
right? And
save his life.
It's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, I kind of got the feeling he's kind of been given Miyagi status as far as Bran goes. He's like, I'm gonna help you get ready for something. He kind of mentions a little bit. I can't remember. He said something about preparing, or I don't know. It in my reading, like it felt like at least
like
maybe
a mentor
someone
thing.
knew. Yeah, like he knows more than he knows more details possibly than Bran knows. Probably definitely more than Mira knows, like that kind of stuff. But
He definitely, I would say he becomes his guardian.
Okay.
And because he has his experience where he has clearly been damaged and had to be healed from something that is, more mystic, I think that does put him that. I didn't think of him as all that knowing, but definitely he's the new Miyagi.
Interesting. Cool. And I don't even know if it's like knowing about Bran's stuff, but like knowing the next step.
Yeah.
At least. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
So something Katie and I were talking about, it's not like super important, but it's just a little tidbit. So he has him drink that rabbit's blood, right? I can't remember in the book.
I forgot about
does it
that.
say anything about like, is that simply just for him for his nutrients, or is there something to do with like warging that helps with or something?
I don't remember a connection from the books.
Okay.
That could be a thing. I don't remember.
I wanted to check with you because I don't remember it all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but that's really cool. Like that was it's good to have Bran back. I like that the mystical side of stuff that's happening with him. So that's good.
Let's go to a couple of smaller ones. Well, this is smaller, but I think we're really going to enjoy talking about it. First of all, there are very few cold opens in Game of Thrones, and they do one with Sandor Clegane.
Yeah, so good.
He's just chopping wood. We just get this picturesque, beautiful scene, and then we come up to reveal his face, and then the theme starts going, and I'm just like, yes!
Yeah. It's such a like lob over home plate.
Oh, yeah.
For the creators. It's just like, you're just gonna drop this 10-second scene before this will be good.
Oh, it's so good.
And also Ian McShane is in Game of Thrones all of a sudden, which yes, please. Thank you.
It is a way out of the blue.
Too bad, because
yeah. And then also
Ian
damn
McShane
you.
is no longer in Game of Thrones. It really is an interesting little one-off. This is the only one I can think of where we really go somewhere and start to establish something. But in fun tape, it's good Game of Thrones fashion to just get rid of it. But did you guys think after? I mean, it's not like he was gone that long, but did you think he was out of the story?
No.
Wow, you don't think anyone's dead?
Right.
I don't trust anything.
I was like, yeah, he's probably gone.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of holding out hope because we have talked about we didn't see him die on screen,
right?
So who knows? But I also was kind of like, I don't know that I'm gonna like what they do with him again. But I really loved the scenes that he has with it's Brother Ray. Is that his name? Yeah,
which is so
freaking
Brother Ray,
coolest pastor in Westeros.
His character reminds me a lot of the priest in Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally
not necessarily personality-wise, but there's a lot of parallels between their storylines.
Yeah, kind of there.
Kind of a past they're not proud of, and kind of turned to a form of religion that doesn't. It's not as. It's more just the idea of religion and the good that it can bring, and not focusing so much on the rules and things like that. It's just more like, let's just be chill and talk about God.
Yeah.
Build a
Let
church.
me sit backwards on this chair. I'm just like you.
We're in the middle of nowhere. Let's build a church.
Yeah.
It's so good. You just get this nice sweet community. Yeah, they're building a church, and it's picturesque, and he's just talking him to being like, hey, there's opportunities. You do not have to continue to suffer for your mistakes before. You can live better from now on. That's what I'm doing. Oh, it's so good. I will say the Hound has very bad axe chopping form. You're supposed to start near the head, swing down with thrust, and bring your other hand to meet your hand at the bottom. And he is just... I know he's strong, but he'd be even faster if he would use proper form.
Again, I don't know. When you're the Hound, technique just doesn't matter as much.
Do whatever you
I think this is a production oversight. I think let's pay attention to the details.
David Benioff and D.B. Weiss have never chopped wood in their lives.
Gosh, it ruined it. Ruined it. Oh, anyway, I mean, he's just we don't really meet anyone else. They're all kind of intimidated by him. He's just he's just eating, trying to be helpful and like really stay out of the way.
Yeah. It's cool. This is like, and it totally tracks with what we've seen of the Hound. Like, he's been on this path for a while to where something's got to give, and he's got to get his infusion of like goodness for a minute before he's ready to mess shit up again.
Oh my gosh, I was so ready for it.
It's so sad and devastating when you realize what has happened.
Yeah,
and yeah, he just comes back, and you know he's on the warpath. And I'm like, I guess you don't know if you're really going to see him again, and then he gets to kill some people.
Yeah, I will say. Yes. So those bandits come, and they're like,
they're members of the Brotherhood.
Oh yeah, that's right. That have kind of like.
They're kind of doing their own thing, yeah.
But yeah, they come and they're like, hey, yeah, we'd love some food. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, you can hang out with us because we're all going to eat food too. And they're like, that's not what we asked for. And so then they like kill all of them. The Hound is the only survivor, right?
Yeah,
because he was out chopping wood.
Yeah, takes his
badly.
axe, which he has terrible form for cutting wood. Pretty damn good form for slicing some dudes up.
Yes.
When you start a scene where it's just with 3 random soldiers talking in the forest, it's like, this is interesting. I wonder what's gonna happen, because we've seen it before. Like Brienne comes upon a group of just guys hanging out.
Or
Arya
like,
does
there's
it.
like early when there's like the Lannister guys talking. They just get
Bolter
destroyed.
goes
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just get destroyed by a wolf. Like it's always a marker that something good's about to happen. And I will say this is. Dialogue wise and tone wise, this is one of my favorite scenes in Game of Thrones at this point. Just like the Hound is so rad. Just like so when he's killing that guy and he's like, really, those are gonna be your last words?
It's like your shit at getting
fumbles
Yeah,
around.
you should have died.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh my gosh.
And those guys are like just playing grab ass, and he just comes in, and it's so quick and swift.
Literal, yeah,
he just starts swinging the axe and taking care of business.
He
not
pops
messing
that
around.
guy's testicles with an axe.
Oh yeah.
And they spill
Just
out on the
watch
ground.
it, just his innards come
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Ugh.
Well done. That's good axe for. Axe body spray
Love how
brought
he's
to you by.
like, I can't remember what he says. Does he ask him for last words, or does
No, because he says he's like fuck you or something. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I just remember he's like, fuck. He's like, really? That's your last words? Fuck you.
Yeah.
He's like,
"Ugh."
cunt.
Like that's
like,
the
what's
next
the
tier
worst?
up
Yeah.
as far as like good.
I've already
last
said the
words.
second to worst word. What's the worst word?
Yeah, but yeah, that's a really great scene. And then we get reintroduced to characters that I've really been wondering what's been going on with. And I think we even brought them up a few weeks ago. Like
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You were
trying
like,
to
where's
like
the
wondering
Brotherhood?
where they were. But yeah, Beric Dondarrion and Thoros of Myr are there with the 3 bandits that we saw earlier, about to hang them because they have been off doing their own thing. And that's a good dynamic. I like that relationship because it's like the Hound literally killed Beric.
Yeah.
Like the last time they were in a room together, like was at that trial, and he just killed him, and he's back, and they're just kind of like begrudging friends now. They're just buds, just dudes being dudes. I don't know. It's just
Making deals on who gets to kill who and how.
yeah. He's like, we'll give you. He gives him 2 of them. He's like, yeah, you can kill 2 of them. He like goes to cut him down. He's like, no, you're gonna hang him. He's like, fine. He just like kicks the stumps out from underneath him.
He
That's
takes
a
their
great
boots.
scene. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he when he's
While
testing
he's
his shoe
still
size,
like
it's so
dying.
He's not wearing socks, which is concerning, but
Yeah.
Oh, that was so gross.
you gotta do what you gotta do in
Gross those
Westeros.
boots are, and then just
Yeah.
putting your barefoot in them.
But yeah, I'm excited to see them again because I think they're cool. It's cool to be able to come back to that world and like.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. That group gets even better.
Oh, good! I cannot
so
wait.
excited.
I'm really excited. Thoros of Myr is also like he's one of those characters. If we want to talk about characters that have like I feel like a gold mine of just cool story avenues and stuff. He's definitely one of those characters that we've learned just very little about, but he's so cool, and like what we do know about him is really good. So I'm really, really excited to see where that stuff goes. That's really good.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with what they've done with his character because you see him in the first couple seasons, and you think you've got everything about him figured out, and he becomes, interesting enough, dialogue-wise, one of the most interesting characters.
Interesting.
All of his dialogue in his scenes is so. I'm always just like eating it up, like that scene at the tavern where he's talking about chickens and stuff. Like, all of it is just so good and everything. Yeah, really love his character.
Oh man, yeah, they're really great. So yeah, that's I'm I'm super excited for that stuff to see what happens. But yeah,
What's Winterfell?
Winter.
Well, Molestown. Where does Sansa?
They meet at Molestown. You're right.
They meet
yeah.
at Molestown.
Yeah.
Sansa meets up with Littlefinger. It's a pretty brief exchange, but he's like pretty much like, "Hey, I'll help you out," and she's kind of like, "Oh, you pretty much got me raped,"
Yeah.
and he pretends he didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
He's a trash bag. He's a trash bag of slime and douche. I when this happened, I thought, I was like, Littlefinger was great and diabolical. At this point, I don't know what really serves. If she just killed him right now, it would be dope.
Yeah. Brienne was ready. Brienne
Yeah.
was.
Oh, she
Yeah.
would have.
Yeah, I mean, when is she not? That woman is never off. She's always on, 100%.
As is Tormund for her.
I need it to happen. I
So
need
much
it.
woman.
Just the opening of that scene where he's just staring at her, he's just shoving food in his mouth. Is like,
She's like,
I'm like,
There's that scene where they're about to leave, and he's just like panting.
yes.
so good. Yeah, I love all of that. I'm excited to see where that
They don't make him like that beyond the wall. It's closest. And anyway, so John is out here going recruiting.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he is.
going out trying to get people to join his.
Oh, he gets a dope costume too.
Yep.
Yeah, Sansa had time to sew 2 full outfits.
Yeah, she's Speedy Gonzalez. Anytime I'm
He
going
does a
through
lot of
Reddit,
needlework in the
hand.
first season.
anytime our sewing
gonna
makes it to
say,
the
it
front
must
page
be-
of Reddit, it's like, I spent 2 years making these pants. like that's my area of knowledge from sewing to take into Game of Thrones and be like, I know you can't do that fast because it took Sephiroth 420 that long to make those pairs of pants in the modern age.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, how long was she not doing stuff that she could have just been like? She could be like, she's gonna be the person that 50 years from now introduces some kind of like mechanical sewing machine that totally industrializes all of Westeros or something.
That's
So,
what they're really setting up. It's an industrial
Yeah.
revolution.
Bran. That's the last thing Bran says before they just cut to black at the end of the show is seize the means of production. And they introduce socialism
That
to
is pretty
Westeros.
great.
And what an ugly dress.
Hi.
Like,
Questionable sense. Questionable, yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, she should go into the retirement home for dead cow wives. Because that dress has got Ethel and Irma written all over it.
She's in a dark place. You can't blame her. She's acting out.
I always have bad fashion sense when I'm emotional. That's
true.
why I
I've
always look
noticed.
bad.
You doing okay?
Mitchell, those are 2 different pants. So on this recruiting tour, they get turned down by one guy who's pretty much just like I was loyal to your father, but I don't like this. Makes 0 sense for us right now.
Are you talking about Glover?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I just got this castle back, and
Yeah.
the Boltons gave it to me.
And also, last time I followed you, the guys from the Iron Islands killed my entire family. So, see ya. Goodbye.
Bye, Felicia. But then we get maybe the greatest northern house of them all.
Yes.
Though we've met 2 of their members for extended periods of time, but now we get the real badass of the family. She's 10 years old.
The wrestling announcers back.
Hailing from Bear Island.
Lyanna Mormont! Backed up by 62
Mormont is
men.
ready.
You had the full Monty. Now we have the more Monty. Okay. Mormonts are good people. But this girl's like, she is not messing around.
I thought she was of the children for a while. She's like the
Children of the Force?
only other time. Yeah, the only other time we've seen like very eloquent little children was they're gods, and
Yeah.
she's not.
She was
I
so
mean,
sassy.
She could be a Vine star for sure.
Oh my gosh, I would watch her vines all
She
day.
was not about to endanger her familia for nothing.
Yeah, and she gives them a whopping 62 men.
Well, it's a great scene because there's so much build up. Like
Chipotle is my
the way Sansa, listen. Sansa, I only have 6 men listening. You're not listening. Okay,
I smell like
she is every Vine star.
Yes.
This is now the Vine podcast. You want to hear your favorite Vines reenacted for an hour? Because we'll do it.
Because we're the best at reenacting.
You really are.
Oh, man.
So Davos does a great job actually convincing. Like they do all this build. That's what is the great punchline is that they really are working to convince her. You would think they'd have some knowledge of the houses and know, even if 62 is way small for them, you'd think they'd know that like this is a pretty small house.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we have 62 men, and like we'll take it.
Yeah.
Something important. This gets touched on a little bit more in the books, but the Mormont women definitely big fighters. One rode a like John. You always saw those men around him, but one of the Mormont women was always also up there with the Karstarks and the Glover. She was there to rep her house and fight.
Oh, cool.
So woman power rolls through the barrel. I mean, we've seen that they're men. You know, one got mutinied, and one is maybe the biggest little pansy falling around a queen we've ever seen. Just kidding. He's a good fighter, but he's a little scaly right now.
But yeah, and it's another scene of like Davos doing what Davos does.
Proving his Seaworth.
Yeah,
He's just like the hype man of the year.
Yeah, he just keeps he always keeps a cool head, and
He brings great perspective.
yeah, he's great. So
Yeah, I feel like they work so hard to convince her, and it's like, how many men can we expect? 62. And they're like, shit.
And they don't want to show, but she's like, that's my men are each worth 10 of their men, which is, you know, something you hear a lot. Well, they also spend a whole scene convincing the other wildlings, I guess. Tormund's like their leader, but they do go over and talk to another very hairy man, and
he's like, hey, we're here to fight the White Walkers when they come. We're not here to all of a sudden just do the shit that we haven't wanted to do for hundreds of years.
This particular wildling looks like he belongs on a pair of like quad roller skates at a skating rink in the 70s.
I thought it was a little unnecessary of a scene. I was like, I get why they showed it. I get the conflict, the inner conflict within the wildlings, but I'm like, it feels like they're all in on Jon now, and I would have just bought it if they didn't show that.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. We kind of already had that scene at Hardhome, too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So we're seeing another giant moment, you know?
Yeah. Just
as much screen time as he can get.
So good. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's everything that happens with them.
Yeah, so they're just kind of amassing an army, and they're
just wanting to go
Sansa
kick Ramsay's
writes
butt.
a letter.
Yes.
She starts writing a scroll. We don't know what it says. Right? We don't see it.
Nope. Remember in season 1 or season 2 when she wrote that letter that pretty much damned her family? Yeah. Let's hope this is a better letter. All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sam.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Baby, let's talk about him and Gilly. All right. So Sam, I love this scene where they're in the carriage and he's just like naming off trees and plants. He's just doing what Sam does. And like most of them are like real life ones too. And he's just explaining. You can tell Gilly just is like, yeah, But that's exactly how I am on a date. I'm like, would you like to know about Harry Potter or the Denver Broncos? In 1994, Petunia made him make bacon.
But honestly,
John Elway was drafted.
If you had to choose two things, there's very little overlap in those circles. So you're actually maximizing your ability to woo a potential mate.
But what if she goes, I'm actually really into horticulture?
Then you're done.
Then I'm like, hey,
then you start talking, Professor
why
Sprout.
didn't you swipe left? Did I put horticulture in my... Oh my gosh, you're bad at this app thing.
But yeah,
yeah, they're talking about trees.
Glad we went there.
They have that adorable scene with Sam's mom.
Oh yeah,
oh gosh!
And his sister's so perfect for that.
Yeah, when they see the baby, the sister's face is just like, oh my, it's a baby. Like, she's so excited, and it made me excited about that baby in a way I haven't been excited about the whole show.
That little bastard, literally. It really was. It was like when you see puppies. Just it's so cute. It's overwhelming, which doesn't happen to me as a grown ass man very often. But man, that baby, I tell you what.
Honestly, probably something Gilly's not used to.
Oh yeah,
that's probably got to be a totally foreign concept for her. How she was raised.
She's like, oh, you like this thing that's eventually also going to have sex with your father and might be given away to some evil freaking master villains?
Yeah.
No, these are just a necessity. Okay. She loves Sam. I'm just kidding. I mean Sam Jr. But yeah, let's talk about Sam's family a little bit. Sister and mom are pretty welcoming.
Yeah.
Gilly, I was thinking this before they suggested it. Girl looks so nasty. Like she's been in a place where she can bathe. Did we not want to bathe her?
You know, I don't know if they have women's bathrooms at Castle Black.
Just make her look a little bit more presentable.
Yeah. Well, when they did, I was like, when she first came out, I was
She
like,
looks so
oh, is
Yeah.
that the sister? That's Gilly. I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit.
She looked.
yeah.
It was perfect because she looked pretty, but at the same time, they made it awkward enough and just overdressing, and she played it so in the face because otherwise, you know, she looks like a lady.
Yeah.
But I just think that shows how well we know that character. That I was like, oh, this. I'm uncomfortable in that dress right now.
For sure.
And I would have looked good in that dress. Just a thought. But then we meet brother and daddy at Nightmare. Man, there are a few nightmare dinners in this world, and this is absolutely one of them.
Yeah,
we pretty much got
immediately-
Roose Bolton back, and
Yeah. And we put Gilly back in a familiar situation with an abusive dad. So she's feeling right
she was
at home.
comfortable.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, I know how this goes. This one can't be as bad as mine. Did you catch Sam's brother's name?
Oh, I can't remember. I think I did. Is it like Charles Barkley? I can't remember.
Wasn't his isn't his sister like Tarla
I
or
think
something?
that's what it
yeah.
was. It's like
So I was like,
Tarla
what the
Tarla
hell
or
is
something.
this?
I can't remember.
His
Give
brother's
you a
name
hint.
rhymes
It-
with Rick on.
And it's another name for a penis.
His name is Dick on.
Who, since we were talking about Umbrella Academy, he's later replaced by the guy who plays Luther.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. This one played Cormac McLagan in the Harry Potter series.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I'd make that connection.
Anyway, second level. They made Gilly all ladylike and clean, but awkward. It was just well done. And then the dad, like, it's interesting because he is exactly what we've seen from other lords in Westeros, but the way that he grinds into Sam and the do you really need another role thing? Oh my gosh, they find new ways to create good assholes all the time on this series. I tell you what.
Yeah. He's awful.
I think a lot of that comes with the casting of that role too.
Yeah.
He's one of those very theatrical, like, villain-esque stage actors that, like, I love those types.
Yeah.
He's like Tywin, and
it's really fun to watch.
yeah, which Tywin's a great that guy that Hugh Dance, great stage actor as well. But man, he does just a great job of being just the biggest one, just asking them questions like, "Do you hunt?" And then Sam reveals that they hunt rabbits. But Sam, we've seen him make so much progress. It is great acting to see him cower in front of his father and not be able to speak. And later he says it's because he was worried about Gilly and he didn't want them to make Gilly leave. But it feels like he is just disabled by this man who tortured him his whole life.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Gilly stands up for him and, like,
Yeah.
they bring up
So-
the White Walker, which they're like, those aren't real.
Yeah, Gilly definitely, like, stands up but also has a missing sense of just how different her world is from this world.
For sure.
Did you think it was a good idea for Sam to take her there and possibly leave her there?
I mean, I don't think it was a bad idea. Like, seeing his mom and, like, his sister, I'm like, they seem to, like, I think that she would have been fine there. But yeah, I think the decision to instead take her with him is better. I
love that he takes the sword because his dad says,
yeah, that's cool.
"Oh, you'll never get that sword," and he knows. He's like, that Valyrian steel is, that's important.
He's like, I
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah, that's cool.
He killed a White Walker, bitch. But yeah, quite the moment. Cool. That's Sam and Gilly. I'm trying to think of other smaller standalone. There are a lot of things in this one that directly correlate that we're going to talk about. Like there are no longer these pieces. Things are really starting to merge this season.
We could talk about Arya's doesn't really touch on.
Yeah,
other
let's do
people's
Arya
stuff. We could
first.
do hers real
Yeah.
quick.
Remember at the end of last episode, Arya was like doing really well blind in the fight, and now all of a sudden, she's kind of getting her butt kicked again. Like, what happened?
I think it was more of, you call her the waif, I call her the bitch. Having, like, when she's blind, she's kind of not going all out, you know?
Yeah.
And so now that she can see and she knows that she's been slightly bested before, she's not pulling any punches.
I did write, what skin cream do the faceless men use? Do you think Neutrogena will sponsor the podcast? But this is, I know this is one of my favorite things. I think this is beloved the way that she watches season 1 in play form.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Oh, yeah. It's
It
so
was
good.
so good.
All that stuff is good. And shout out to Richard Grant, nominated for an Oscar this weekend.
Wow.
The guy who plays the Tywin character.
Yeah.
He's like, he's one of my favorite. His backstage parts are one of my favorite parts because there's one of those in every show, and I love it so much because they're the worst. But it's so good. It's so well played. And like,
What a flex from the show to be that meta
Yeah.
in this world. Oh my gosh.
it's so great. Yeah, I could have watched so much
And he
more
cast a
of
pretty
it.
big actor in a really small role.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Ian McShane, like they nail it.
That's true, yeah. And Lady Crane is awesome. Lady Crane is just one of those characters that, like, when I see her on screen, I'm like, this woman is cool, and she's like the character that has seen so much, and is still just like, you know what, I'm gonna make the best of it. I don't know. That's just like how her character feels, and she is so like open and warm. And Arya has this really delightful relationship with her because Arya is just a magnet for incredibly cool people who,
Including the people she's
want
supposed to
take
kill.
care of her. Yes, yes, which is bad if you're a hitman. And
Yeah, you can't be friends with people if you're a hitman. Watch Barry on HBO. Great show.
but yeah, and so that basically Arya finds herself unable to kill Lady Crane, saves her, which basically means open season on Arya's face for the
But
towers.
we get this great introduction. So first of all, Arya really enjoys the first part of the first show she sees, and we find out later that she's been going back and just sneaking in and watching this over and over again. But we get an echo of the moment when she watched her father die, when he dies in the play, and she is standing in the audience just like she was. And it's bone chilling. It's really well done. And at first I thought this play was a full farce, but then you see that people believe like this lady is a really good actress, and that she humanizes Cersei in the way that Cersei to some degree gets humanized because of the death of her child. Yeah. And so to watch that range of emotion, to watch Arya's reactions is super cool.
Yeah.
And then we see one of the kid just has something on his penis. We get maybe our most gratuitous penis shot.
It was like a full frame of dick.
Excessive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is accurate at all, or if I'm just reading into it. Around the time this was airing, I remember there being like we had just seen the scene with Daenerys walking out naked, which is how amount of times we've seen her naked now.
4.
And so people were like really complaining about the show of male versus female nudity.
Right.
And I didn't know if this was intentional for them to just be like, well, all right, here you go.
A lot of people who are upset about season 5 and just how dark and how they felt some of the stuff with Sansa was so gratuitous were like, maybe there are things in the season that are making up like in real time for the exact criticism, which how early they have to write and produce these. I don't know how real that is, but I think it's very likely.
I mean, that's a very thing you could just do on a like decision on set. You could do like,
hey, you're going to sign this waiver,
and, you're
and you're doing
uncircumcised.
nudity.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, and then but the younger woman who we think may have tried to get the faceless men to assassinate Lady Crane because she wants her part, she also just takes her shirt off, like, which is, you know, that is how theater is. People are pretty dang comfortable back there. But it's interesting because you'd think to hire a faceless man, they say it comes from the faceless god, but it also seems like they're for hire, right? But wouldn't they be more expensive than like the B actress in a little play could afford? I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how the economy works. I'm waiting for the John Wick type spinoff that tells me all about the world.
Maybe they just want so many faces they work pro bono.
Yeah,
they're just like.
Have you seen that movie Wanted where they pretend they're picking names out of the thread and it's in a professional assassin group with Angelina Jolie?
I honestly have never seen.
Wait, which?
Oh, it's so good. Wanted.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen
with the curving bullet. Anyway, entertaining, and the way that they're in a guild of amazing assassins, and the way that they pick out names turns out to be fake, but you think it's coming just from a threading machine,
about that.
Which is super random. But that's how I want to know more about the faceless men.
Yeah, yeah, me too. It's really good.
But yeah, Arya keeps watching this show, and then did you at any point think she might run away with the mummers, with the performers?
I mean, in my heart of hearts, that's all I want.
Yeah, same.
But I knew
that'd been cool,
it couldn't happen.
My thought was maybe they go to Westeros after this or something. Like, I wanted her to be with that group of characters.
Oh my gosh,
That
I
would've
would
been
love. Oh my gosh, I would love for season 8 to just end with a Hamlet style play within a play where she just freaking kills 3 people that are all royalty.
You just look like you took the best pee of your life.
Gosh. Oh, that idea just came to
Oh
me.
my gosh, if
Nothing.
sort of
I
relief.
just ruined Game of Thrones for myself because nothing's ever gonna. Oh, it's not gonna be as
Oh,
good.
how sad.
Oh my gosh! If Arya was just a Hamlet. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh boy.
Anyways,
So Arya's thinking assassin or actress, and she is not able to kill Lady Crane.
Yeah.
And now it is it's open season on Arya for the very robotic-esque waif who's just like
Yeah.
running through the streets with this demonic eyes.
Like iRobot.
There's a part where she walks out of Crane's house. Her walk is like,
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
weird. It's like, oh, yep, here comes T-1000.
Yeah.
Just strolling down the street.
But I love when Arya gets stabbed. I didn't think it could be the end after all the time we invested, but like Arya should have been on the lookout. Like, the one thing I don't love about the Faceless Men is I don't want this to turn into anyone could be anyone too much. But man, when that old lady goes, "Sweet girl," it's so good.
I actually had a little bit of gripe with it, just because it felt, I don't know, for a show that's felt so grounded for so long, there's no way anyone's surviving that in that time. I feel like
That also feels
like,
real. Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, it's not a huge thing. It was just like a little thing that took me out for a little sliver. But then I was right back in once like the chasing started and everything.
She does the James Bond, Jason Bourne thing, just jumps into the water and gets to live a second life.
Yeah, then she goes and finds Lady Crane, who ties her up, gives her good drugs.
She invites her along. She's like, "You can come with us."
Yeah. That's so good.
And then Lady
Could have
Crane.
been Hamlet. Damn it.
That her death scene is really effective as like a horror.
Yeah. Oh
trope.
yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
Because she turns around and you see this weird looking dude who looks enough like her,
Yeah.
but is just silent and looking at her. It's very unnerving. And then you start seeing things from Arya's perspective, and you hear like sounds, and you see like around the corner a little bit. You can't see it. Oh,
Yeah. It's really good.
And then Lady Crane's body is pretty messed up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Super like yeah.
bad.
Oh. And then in all caps, I just wrote "needle, bitch."
Yeah, that was cool.
That was the best.
It was really good.
that chase scene is pretty well done.
Really good chase scenes through the
A lot of
city.
cool shots, a lot of cool moments of like after she falls down, like gets up, and then like there's like an upshot, and you see her like running on top of the wall.
It's so in the background. It's so
Yeah.
good.
And it also it's a really cool. There's some really cool like Arya deliberately leaving the trail of her own blood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like that's like that's another like really small thing that really makes that chase cool to me is like because at the beginning of that I'm like, oh, this is really intense, and then like I was seeing stuff I was like, why is she is she doing this on there's a lot of blood. Oh, it's it's all the like, and it's really cool. That's
I wish
really
he
cool
cuts the
about it.
candle and you realize there's this
Yes.
payoff. And I mean, of course, we want to see the wave, but like, what a freaking moment to just cut things off, and yet that was more exciting than actually seeing a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they skipped like that crowd pleasing type of moment to
Yeah.
like go for the stronger
Yeah.
narrative choice.
And then she goes back to the Hall of the Faceless Men, and she's just like, "A girl is Arya Stark of Winterfell," and I'm going, "Oh, motherfucker!" I don't know if she said motherfucker, but I heard it.
She did. She did. It was weird. It was a tonal break, but I liked it.
I like in Jaqen's face to like Professor McGonagall when a kid's doing something bad, but she kind of likes it. It's just the slimmest smirk he's in.
The
like,
last
yeah.
moment that we saw him, I was like, I still know nothing. I love this.
You could be the wife.
so
He's
good.
everyone. He'll see her.
Yeah.
He'll see her in King's Landing.
This was a surprise for me watching because for some reason I had it in my mind that she killed him.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
going back and watching, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is where she kills him." Oh, I
She doesn't.
forgot that didn't happen.
That's funny. Yeah, no, that's really good. I love that.
And
I'm excited to move on from it, but I've loved every second of
Yeah.
the House of Black and White.
Arya might have the best. I mean, we see other characters who I enjoy Jon's arc and so many things. Anything more happens with people are saying, "Oh, Jon's just been boring at the wall the whole time." No, a lot actually happens with him, but Arya makes so much progress. She is never safe. She is never with the right people, and to see how she's come out of that, it's what a payoff.
Yeah.
And not in a gratuitous way. It's just in a satisfying way.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Alrighty, well, let's head back over to the Iron Islands because this is not a ton happens. We see Euron, and he's pretty badass. You know, he's just there, and Yara thinks like my father trusted me more than he trusted Theon. Like I've been his right hand man. Everybody here knows I'm a great captain. I'm a great fighter, and she just doesn't the Iron Islands. She didn't realize how sexist they were because she got so much respect. And then she's like, no, when it comes down to it, now that my father's gone, I am still just a different gender to these men. And they're going to pick my brother who dishonored our faith, dishonored our family, disappeared. And he's got this grandiose about him and just that he's been there, done that. The King's Moot, a billion times better in the book. A billion more people, including one guy who was so fat that like 15 men have to carry him out. But what did you think about the King's Moot? Was it a King's Moot or King's Smoot?
King's Moot.
King's Moot.
Like King's plural moot.
Gotcha. Riley, how would you take the Iron Islands in these?
It went as I expected it was gonna go, honestly.
You didn't think she could win?
No. Once he stepped forward, I was like, even with Theon backing her, like once he started like giving his big speech, I was like, oh, she's done.
Theon's
like they're
no
not
Davos,
gonna pick her. Yeah.
She's got no balls.
I really hate Euron's character in the show. I don't like the actor. Well, not necessarily the actor, how they directed his acting. I don't like his dialogue. And it gets worse as it goes on, I guess. But like that part where he gets crowned, he's like, "Where's my niece and nephew? Let's go murder them."
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that felt gross. And then
they must want him to be that way because they really let him go for it.
No, but in the next season it gets worse because like even there's a lot of this in the next season that I have problems with, but like costume design and stuff. They dress him in like black leather. I'm pretty sure he's wearing a little bit of eyeliner even.
Oh gosh.
I could be misremembering that.
Right.
That's just how I remember it. But like
Cersei in this season, I will say her costuming steps up in a way, and then it steps up again. But like she definitely, they do a great job of very subtly putting her in different places. And of course, she's dealing with the shorter hair. And so yeah, I get what you're saying with Euron. But the good thing is Theon and Yara get away. And they have a nice little sibling moment.
Yeah, their moment in the whorehouse is good.
Yeah, it is really good. I really like Yara. I think she's a cool character. I think she's another one of those characters that like has some really interesting hooks and stuff to her that we haven't really gotten to explore. And I don't know that we will, but like just the fact that she is a character that we've spent so little time with, but they've created such a deep and like really consistent and cool character is really fascinating to me. I really like that.
And I like that now it's just a race to get to Daenerys to see like who can get there first and get in her ear first. I think that will be interesting if they make it over there to see that dynamic.
Right. I love Yara's confidence. I love that she's willing to go for that.
Yeah.
They make it to Volantis pretty quick. And I like that she's just like, yeah, I'm going to go do this whore. I mean, you have so many strong women in Game of Thrones, but it's refreshing for her to she just got rejected, but she still has so much ownership over who she is. And she kind of has to like tell Theon, she's trying to get him to just like suck it up, start to be a man again, start to be a human again. And it does feel like he's slowly making progress, but she's been charged with a very difficult task.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's all cool. I'm excited to see where that goes. So.
Let's do Essos real quick. Jorah is just scaly, and she's like, it's a bittersweet moment because she's like crying. She's like, I love you. I want you to be here. You've supported me along the way, but at the same time, you betrayed me. Like, and I can't have you serve me. And she's just so torn. And he's like, oh, I solved that problem for you. And then her moment of resolve to just say, go get this fixed. And then my guy just has to walk away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that before? I don't know if that's before or after she gives the big old speech to the Dothraki.
It's before.
But that is, I mean, for a girl who's sitting in front of a green screen, I was pretty pumped.
Yeah. No, that was a good scene. And like, yeah, the barbaric Dothraki energy is, exciting to see again. Like I'm kind of stoked for that. But
I mean, you got like now she's got dragons, Unsullied, Second Sons, and the Dothraki. Which are the Second Sons are sellsword group. Is she just paying him?
I guess.
Well,
If
if
you're
you're
the second son
with
to-
Dario, I don't know. Do they
Yeah.
accept that as payment for the whole army? I don't know. Like,
Wow.
They're kind of a hive mind. They all
yeah, I was gonna
receive
say.
pleasure.
Well, I heard Dario had sex last night. Cool. Yeah, I guess we're hanging out for a while
Well,
longer.
I had a great
As
dream.
long-
So.
They're the ultimate like bros. They're like,
Yeah.
as long as my bro's getting it, we'll stay here. The ultimate wingmen.
Okay, I've stayed at some pretty bad parties for my buddies to get some. I will say.
But yeah, so that's she's got the men.
Yeah.
She just needs the transportation.
Hey,
Yeah,
she's
I can
got
tell
lots
that.
of transportation on the way.
Yeah.
Back in Marine, Tyrion is not doing so hot, but he does have the Red Priest on his side, preaching the word for him.
Yeah.
He meets a very attractive Red Priestess, and I was like, Mitchell, do not become attracted to her because she might be 9,000 years.
She might be the witch.
Which it's just like when you meet a girl from Tinder and it's just something. You put your two best pictures up there.
Oh my god.
That's so
It's okay.
nice,
I'm
though.
extremely disappointing in person. It's okay. Those pictures are absolutely from 3 years and 40 pounds ago. Okay.
But yeah, and that the scene with her and Varys, I really like.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
she says some very revealing things about Varys. Because he's pretty skeptical, and then he is skeptical and confused at the end.
It's like one of the
and
few
it's
times
really
where we
good.
see him just completely disarmed by
Yeah.
somebody verbally.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
He has such a belief in the human spirit with also a hatred of faith that to know, like, whatever we believe about an actual God, there is clearly power in whatever magic or faith is being practiced by the Red Priestess religion, or the, what do they call them?
The Lord of Light.
Lord
Lord
of
of
Light
Light.
religion, yeah. Tyrion, on the other hand, is trying to tell jokes with two just humorless slaves. I've never met two unfunny slaves like that in my
So
life.
good though.
No, but it is interesting how they just come from different worlds. But that scene, like, it demonstrates what Tyrion's going through. He's just drinking and just
He's just desperate
Hanging.
for good company.
yeah.
Yeah. And that scene is fun. He just pressures them into drinking a little bit, and they
It
tell
is great
really
peer
bad
pressure.
jokes.
It caught me off
Yeah.
guard. Like,
Yeah.
I legitimately thought it was funny, and
Yeah.
I feel like looking back, I'm like, I shouldn't think this is really that funny. But this is genuine. It was just a really genuine scene. I feel like
Yeah.
that still fits each character really well
Yeah.
by still kind of pushing the boundaries on.
I'm happy
the
they have
showtone.
time for that scene.
Me too.
That they let that happen. But then all of a sudden there's a panic, and it turns out their entire
the
fleet
disco.
has been burned, and the town is under attack from the masters who are going back on their deal with Tyrion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out they lied. Bad people lie.
And Tyrion has to kind of like own up to it and be like, okay, I was wrong. And Missandei's like, yeah, I know you don't know these guys like I do. And so it's
So
just
it's
interesting.
because Tyrion tried to do, like we talked about this, we gave him some credit for trying to politic in a way Dany can't. But seems to be a lost cause. But then Dany shows up. I like when the pyramid shakes and Dany just walks in and she's like, what are you doing with my city, son?
Leave the home for 5 minutes.
Any other thoughts on that?
Oh,
Those peoples?
Varys leaves
Yeah, Varys is going back to Westeros.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Presumably.
to kind of rally more people.
It's not
for
explicitly
them.
said exactly what he's doing, other
Yeah.
than he's going to try and get allies for.
Yeah.
He's going to do positive things for the regime of Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, this is a bit of a storyline that kind of comes out of nowhere. It's the Frey Tully issue. The Freys have always disliked the Tullys because they've kind of always been the poorer house in the Riverlands, and the Tullys have always been in charge, and they've always been led by the people. What are they called? Filch's family is just trash.
Phrase.
The Freys, and so he's like talking crap on his sons because they let the castle get taken back by the Blackfish, and he's just like, we got to go siege it, and it's really impenetrable, so they just have to wait him out. And the Blackfish says they have 2 years worth of provisions, and I like that they got the actor to come back to play Edmure. Apparently, he's on the Outlander show, which is pretty popular, and he came back to play the game. But I guess if Game of Thrones calls, you probably show back up.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
even if you're on Outlander, I think you.
You know they didn't call if you're the villain in Transporter 5.
But yeah, so that stuff, I will say I wasn't that invested in it.
It's
Yeah.
hard to be because
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like there's really stakes. The only time that I feel like there's really stakes there's two times. It's when Brienne is talking to Jamie there,
Right. Yeah.
and when Brienne is talking to the Blackfish.
Yeah.
And those are the only two moments. It's like, and then they both just kind of nothing happens with
And
those.
the other moment I like is Bronn and Pod.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. And he just
Like,
comes up behind him and he's just giving him shit. It's so
Yeah.
good.
It's really great.
Oh, what a... Braun, that might be the MVP as far as whoever he is on screen with, he makes better.
yeah,
He creates a positive dynamic.
yeah. And what a good change because he's not in after book 2. He's just not.
Oh, really?
In the books.
Yeah. He is one that they got attached to. I mean, they should have done it with Tonks too, but whatever. So Jamie and her like come to this resolve. She tries to give the sword back, and he's like, "We're on opposite sides of this now." And there's this tension. And Bronn even goes, "He's like, you think we're gonna do it?" And Podrick's like, "What? No." Podrick's still not thinking about sex, which we don't know why. He's very good at it. It's one of the very few things we know about him. But yeah, it's hard to care about. But Jamie, I will say it's fairly good acting and fun when Jamie has the exchange with Edmure, who's tied, and he pretty much is just like, "I will take your child and throw them over the wall with a catapult." And he just talks about how he loves his sister, and he just doesn't care anymore. He's like, but he tells him how much he cares about his children to make Edmure think about his child, which apparently Edmure, 1 for 1, am I right?
Yeah, just
He's got a
in
kid
and
he's
out,
never
man.
met
Yeah.
waiting for him. But we see that exchange, and then Edmure gives the castle away. He is technically in charge. Those guys have to listen to him. They're being sieged anyway, and then the Blackfish helps Brienne and Pod escape.
Right.
And then he is said to have died, which, like, show me some fighting, man.
Yeah.
Just because you want to see the Blackfish in action. I wonder how they took the castle. Like, this all just kind of happens off screen, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. And I guess we're supposed to care more because it does mean like possibly less troops for Sansa, right? I mean, like the Tully
Right.
and all that,
Yeah.
but like I don't know. It's it doesn't
That is
feel
why I
great.
forgot that's why Brienne's even there.
Yeah,
She's
right.
trying to get troops for
So-
Sansa.
So yeah, it's weird. I didn't love it. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, I would like to see the Blackfish get like more time, and like he could be almost what the guy was for Dany. What's his name? The Kingsguard guy who goes over and helps Dany.
Barristan.
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 Man, that's the vibes he gave. Maybe it's just because it's a white man with a beard. But Jamie, it's kind of echoing Cersei in that he's ready to look at this as a singular focus. We are all that matters. And I really hope Edmure now actually gets to hang out with his really hot wife.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know if he
seems like how it would
wants
end.
to, though.
He wants to be around that kid.
But yeah, so yeah, that's good. Great, whatever.
Yeah.
That all happens. To the Sept!
Whoa.
Yeah, I guess we can kind of go back to see why Jamie is there in the first place, because it does feel like a move to get Jamie just out of the way.
It
right?
is, yeah. This is important. You're important, but he gets stripped. Tommen, his own son, strips him of his cloakness, his white cloak,
Yeah.
and then sends him off on this little mission. But it seems like Cersei was kind of down for that. She's like, you can be out of the capital for a while.
Yeah, but he does, because he marches with the Kingsguard on the Sept when presumably Marjorie's going to have to do her Walk of Atonement.
Right.
This is kind of the power move that Mr. Kevin and Olenna... Yeah,
Oh, no.
Mr. Tyrell
Mr.
rides a
Tyrell.
horse and wears full armor.
And gives a
It's-
battle speech.
He looks
Oh
so
my
goofy.
God.
It's so awkward. It's so
Yeah.
well done.
This guy. Oh my
What does he say?
goodness. can't
Evil has had its day.
It's so good. It's one of those characters that I'm like, I don't know if they fully know, but they also know a little bit. I don't know. Like, he is delightful. He is just, I feel like, blissfully ignorant of the weight of everything going on around him.
Marjorie's like, what's happening? Can you explain what's happening to me?
Yeah. But yeah, so, and Jamie has this huge kind of like face off with the High Sparrow, and he's like, yeah, I'm here on the word of the king, which is total bullshit.
And my horse can ride up the stairs.
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah,
intense.
I liked that.
But yeah, and then the Sparrow's like, yeah, well, Marjorie's not going to walk today because she atoned for her sins in a different way, which is getting the king to join our club. Doors open. Tommen comes out with way different colored hair than I've ever seen before. I just remember right during that scene, I was like, what the hell happened to Tommen's hair?
I didn't
It
notice.
looks like orange.
Huh.
I don't know. It was weird.
I wonder if it was like a color correcting thing.
Yeah,
that
it's
went awry.
bizarre. I don't know what it is, but yeah, and he's like, "Yep, and we're unified with the church forever now."
The
So
two
everyone has to
pillars.
pray 3
Oh
times
man,
a
if I could hear
day,
that
and
damn line one more time.
The something and the
the
fae.
pillar and the stones are connected.
Marjorie. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Is
geez,
that what got
oh.
worse in here in the first place?
I like how the Sparrow is kind of trying to help get Tommen get laid. He's like, he lets Marjorie out after last episode. He kind of gave her this story, and she's quoting scripture, and she really seems to be in on it, and that's kind of how he lets her out. And then he's like, why aren't you lying with the king? What?
Yeah,
She's just like, I'm a different person. And she's like, look, if I don't have to bang this 12-year-old, I'm done.
oh man, but yeah, and then that kind of precipitates him like sending Jamie off.
Yeah.
And Cersei's like, I'm not worried about my trial because I'm gonna make it a trial by combat and have my monster do my bidding. And then Tommen's like, yeah, we decided trial by combat is kind of bullshit because you can just get a huge guy to absolve you of all your sins. So we're gonna have an actual trial. She's like,
Oh, but
okay.
when Cersei's monster kills that dude, he
Yeah.
just
Oh
rips
my
his
gosh.
face off. Because it was a little bit of a duplicate scene when she wants to go to the funeral for her daughter.
Right.
And this time, they're just like, yeah, we're not going to let you do something or blood will be shed. And she's like, hell yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I choose violence. It's like, yeah.
It's like, oh man.
Which, I mean, it's not that I'm rooting for Cersei, but you're definitely rooting for Cersei over the Faith at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is an odd dynamic to be stuck in. But Tommen pretty much just sentenced his mother to death.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Which, that's just the Sparrow, man. He is making moves.
Yeah.
I feel like in this episode, and it's kind of backtracking a little bit, but it's the first time we really see any sort of smugness from his part of that moment at the Sept outside. And then afterwards, when everyone's applauding him and Jamie are making eye contact, and it's like, he might not be as devout as,
Right.
like,
There's a hint at, like, ulterior, impure motives. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
When Marjorie meets with her grandma,
Oh, yeah.
and she's kind of like, oh, you need to leave, like, you need to read scripture, just kind of like preaching all this bullshit at her, and then slips her a note that has their like family flower.
Marjorie's still playing the game, in
Yeah.
it to win it.
Yeah.
Finally made
I
a
was
big
like, oh.
move.
Yeah.
Pretend.
I'm excited to see where she goes with all of that.
And that nun is still there, still kicking.
Oh, that stupid
Dumb old
nun.
face still. When's it gonna get
When's
hit?
the mountain gonna crush her head?
and
I do hope that before she dies, someone says, I'll have none of this. And then just, I don't know.
None of
Oh. Did we miss anything? Any significant events, bits, moments that you thought were worth talking about?
Can't think of anything too big. The biggest things for me, like the Hodor thing and the Hound stuff, was like,
I mean, we just talked about so much happens in these 4 episodes.
yeah, lots does, yeah, for sure.
And think about right before these episodes ended, you had Danny like setting fire and stuff. It's just this season is just heavyweight punch after punch.
Yeah.
Things are. Oh, I mean, this happens every season where they really build towards these last 2. But man, the way it's just, it feels like it's coming together so well. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's really good.
These next 2, I think are the best 2 episodes in the series.
Oh, like,
really, I mean, they're phenomenal. Yes.
Yes, at 100%.
wow! Commitment.
I think one of these episodes is the best movie of 2017. That's how I will put it.
Next episode?
That's how I will put it. Yes.
Next episode is like it's simple, should I say? But it's
beautiful.
It's
That's all you need to know is it's
astoundingly
beautiful.
crafted.
Cool.
It's beautiful.
Excited.
Oh man, could you just record your faces? Thank you. It's so good. But yeah, at this point, is there a storyline where you're really not sure how it's going to conclude, or one where you're looking forward to a climax?
I'm excited for Arya to be in Westeros again.
Yeah.
I think that's
I'm so excited.
a big thing for me. And also Baratheon, Darian, and Thoros of Myr. I just want to hang out with those guys in the woods some more. I don't know what I'm gonna see, but I want to smoke some weed.
It's really just a live action version of the
resurrect
animated
him.
show Gummy Bears on the Disney Channel. It's a lot like that.
That'd be amazing. Also, if they could do a couple more plays between now and the end of the series, that'd be really great. Please, thank you, please.
More plays are just the backstage stuff.
Tyler likes it all. He's ready to just have a full Game of Thrones TV show about a traveling theater troupe.
It could be called Mummer Time.
Oh,
Man.
yeah, I'm really excited. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, don't say anything.
No, I don't want to say anything that would be slightly spoily, but I'm like, how else do I look on these episodes other than tell you that like you've enjoyed a ride that leads to a beautiful ride?
Two huge episodes.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about
excited.
you? Is there anything that you're like super stoked for?
I'm interested to see what happens when the Dothraki show up in Marine and how those cultures clash, because I don't see it going well, but we'll see what happens. If Marine is still standing when they arrive there.
Right.
I don't know. They're like a week out or something.
Oh,
Yeah, I think I'm excited about that though.
cool. That was episodes 5 through 8, season 6, Game of Thrones. You don't want to miss the next episode. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, if you watched all the ones up to this point, you might as well.
Can you imagine somebody saying,
God bless you.
yeah, I'm out. I'm out after this one.
Yeah, I got 58 episodes in, and I don't know, just wasn't doing it for
Wow,
me.
have
didn't
we watched
hook me.
58 of these episodes?
58 episodes.
And
Oh
when did-
wow.
well, okay. I'm trying to think of chronologically how much time we've been doing this podcast, but anyway,
Wait a minute.
it's been a blast.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us. Valar Morghulis.
Sayonara.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Ciao.
I'm an idiot. Valar